The morning sun cast long shadows across the Luna orbital platform as Admiral Jack Morrison stood before the massive viewing window. His weathered face reflected years of military service, though at 52 he had never seen real combat. Earth's fleet consisted of only 200 vessels, modest by galactic standards, but sufficient for patrol duties and asteroid mining protection. Morrison sipped his coffee and watched the blue marble of Earth slowly rotate below. 20 years had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Council as a minor member world. The arrangement seemed beneficial enough. Earth provided raw materials and some technological expertise while the major powers handled galactic security. Humans were told they were too young a species to bear the burden of interstellar warfare. Captain Lisa Harper approached from behind, her boots clicking on the metal deck. She was 38, sharp-eyed, and commanded the USS Defiance, one of Earth's newer cruisers. Her expression carried the weight of urgent news. "Admiral, we have a situation," Harper said, handing him a datapad. "Long-range sensors detected a massive fleet entering our outer system. They're not responding to standard communication protocols." Morrison studied the readings and felt his stomach tighten. The sensor data showed over 50,000 ships, each one massive beyond anything in Earth's fleet. The largest human vessel was barely 300 meters long, but these alien ships stretched over 3 kilometers each. The sheer size difference was terrifying. "How long before they reach Earth orbit?" Morrison asked. "At current speed, approximately?" 6 hours, Harper replied. "Sir, I've never seen anything like this. The power signatures are off the charts. Each of those ships could probably destroy our entire fleet single-handedly." Morrison nodded grimly. He had always known this day might come, though he had hoped it never would. The Galactic Council maintained peace through strength, but that strength belonged to the major powers. Earth was expected to remain quiet and compliant. Sound general quarters. "Get all ships to defensive positions around Earth. Contact General Pete Collins and tell him to prepare ground defenses," Morrison ordered, "and send a priority message to the Galactic Council. We need to know who these visitors are and what they want." Harper saluted and hurried away to carry out his orders. Morrison remained at the window, watching Earth's small fleet begin to move into position. Their ships looked like toys compared to the approaching armada. He wondered if this was how ancient naval commanders felt when facing overwhelming odds. The communication officer called out from across the bridge. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the approaching fleet. It's on all frequencies, maximum power." "Put it through," Morrison sighed, straightening his uniform. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a reptilian face with cold yellow eyes. The creature's skin was dark green with intricate scale patterns, and its voice carried an air of absolute authority. Behind him, the bridge of his ship was filled with similar beings working at alien control stations. "I am Commander Thalov." "The Zephyrian Empire," the alien announced. "I speak for High Overlord Vexstar, ruler of 300 star systems and master of the greatest military force in this galaxy. You will listen carefully to what I have to say." Morrison stepped forward. "This is Admiral Jack Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered our solar system without permission or warning. State your intentions." Commander Thal's eyes narrowed, and what might have been a smile crossed his features. "Your solar system exists at the pleasure of the Galactic Council, human. We are here to collect what belongs to us." "Nothing here belongs to the Zephyrian Empire," Morrison replied, though he felt sweat beading on his forehead. "You are wrong," Thal said. "Your species possesses exactly what we require. Your engineers and scientists are among the most innovative in the galaxy. They will serve the Empire's war machine. This is not a request, it is a demand." Morrison's blood ran cold. He had heard rumors of other species being forced into slavery by the major powers, but Earth had always been told they were too insignificant to worry about such things. Now he realized the truth. No one was safe from the appetites of the galactic empires. "The Galactic Council will never permit you to enslave our people," Morrison said, trying to keep his voice steady. Thal laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge. The Council has already been informed. They have chosen not to interfere. Your fate is a matter between Council members, they say, very convenient for us. The transmission showed the view from Thal's ship, revealing the massive Zephyrian fleet spread across space like a dark cloud. Each vessel bristled with weapons that could level cities. The message was clear: resistance would mean annihilation. You have 72 hours to gather your engineers and scientists, Thal continued. They will be transported to Zephyrian, facilities where they will work for the glory of the Empire. Those who refuse will be eliminated. Those who comply will live as honored slaves. Morrison clenched his fists. And if we refuse entirely? Then your species will join the others who thought they could defy the Empire. We will reduce your world to ash and take what we need from the ruins. The choice is yours, human. The transmission ended, leaving Morrison staring at a blank screen. Around him, the bridge crew waited for orders, their faces pale with fear and anger. Earth had always prided itself on being a free world, but now they faced a choice between slavery and extinction. Doctor Amanda Brooks entered the bridge, her scientific mind already working on the problem. She was 45, brilliant, and had spent decades developing Earth's modest technological capabilities. Her arrival reminded Morrison that she was exactly the kind of person the Zephyrians wanted to enslave. Admiral, I've been analyzing their fleet composition, Dr. Brooks said. Their technology is advanced, but not impossibly so. The main advantage they have is numbers and size. In a straight fight, we'd lose within minutes. General Pete Collins' voice crackled over the communication. System. Admiral, my ground forces are ready, but we both know we can't stop an invasion force of that size. What are your orders? Morrison looked out at Earth one more time. Somewhere down there, families were going about their daily lives unaware that their world's freedom hung in the balance. Children played in parks while their parents worked jobs that might soon be declared illegal by alien masters. Schedule an emergency meeting with all department heads, Morrison said finally. We need to discuss our options. Commander Ryan Torres, the intelligence officer, approached with a grim expression. Sir, I've been monitoring communications from other Council worlds. Similar demands have been made to 12 other species in the past century. 6 complied and now exist as slave races. The other 6 were destroyed, Morrison finished. Yes, sir, the Zephyrians don't bluff, Morrison nodded slowly. Earth had always been told they were too weak to matter in galactic politics. Now they faced the same choice that had destroyed civilizations far older than humanity. Submit to slavery, or face extinction. As the Earth's small fleet took defensive positions around their homeworld. Morrison wondered if there was a third option. Something told him that humanity's story was far from over, but with only 200 ships against 50,000, the odds seemed impossible. The countdown had begun, and in 72 hours, Earth would learn whether freedom was worth dying for. The emergency meeting convened in the secure conference room deep within Luna Station. Admiral Jack Morrison sat at the head of the table, surrounded by his senior staff. The weight of Earth's fate pressed down on everyone present. Outside, the Zephyrian fleet continued its slow approach, each passing hour bringing them closer to the moment of decision. General Pete Collins spoke first, his voice heavy with frustration. We've run every simulation possible. Even if we use every defensive platform and sacrifice our entire fleet, we might destroy a few hundred of their ships before they wipe us out. It's not enough. Captain Lisa Harper leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly. What about evacuation? We could try to get some of our people to the outer colonies before the deadline. They'd hunt us down, Commander Ryan Torres replied. The Zephyrians have done this before. They always find the survivors. Running only delays the inevitable. Morrison felt the hopelessness settling over his staff like a dark cloud. 20 years of peaceful existence had not prepared humanity for this moment. Earth's military was designed for defense against pirates and asteroid impacts, not galactic conquest. Dr. Amanda Brooks had remained silent throughout the discussion, but now she cleared her throat. Admiral, I need to tell you something. Oh, of you, actually. Something that changes everything about our situation. The room fell silent. Brooks was known for her careful words and scientific precision. If she said something changed everything, it was worth hearing. For the past century, Earth has been preparing for exactly this moment, Brooks continued. What you see here, this small fleet, these modest defenses, they're not our real military. They're a facade. Morrison stared at her in disbelief. What are you talking about? Brooks touched a control on the table, and the room's security systems activated. What I'm about to show you is classified beyond anything you've ever seen. The project began shortly after we made first contact with the Galactic Council. Our leaders realized that joining as a minor member was a trap. The holographic display showed star charts of the outer galaxy, regions that appeared empty on all official maps. We've been building a fleet out here, beyond the detection range of any Council surveillance. The project is called Operation Homecoming. General Collins leaned forward. That's impossible. A project of that scale would require massive resources and coordination. There's no way to hide something like that. There is if you plan it properly, Brooks replied. We've been mining asteroids in the outer rim for decades. The materials were supposedly for civilian construction projects. In reality, we've been building the largest fleet in galactic history, Commander Torres frowned. I would have known. About this, intelligence monitors all major projects. No, you wouldn't, Brooks said gently. The project was compartmentalized beyond normal security protocols. Only a handful of people knew the full scope. Even I only learned the complete truth 6 months ago? Morrison felt his world shifting beneath him. How many ships are we talking about? Over 500,000 vessels, Brooks said quietly. Each one more advanced than anything the Council races possess. We've had a century to study their technology and improve upon it. The silence that followed was deafening. Morrison tried to process the magnitude of what he was hearing. If Brooks was telling the truth, then Earth was not the helpless victim they appeared to be. Why wasn't I informed? Morrison asked, his voice tight with anger and confusion. Because the deception had to be complete, Brooks explained. Every Council world monitors each other. If Earth's military commanders knew about the real fleet, it would have shown in their behavior. The secret had to be absolute. Captain Harper shook her head. I don't understand. If we have this fleet, why maintain the pretense? Why let the Zephyrians think they can threaten us? Because we needed them to reveal themselves, Brooks said. Every major power in the galaxy has been eyeing Earth for decades. They see us as a resource to be exploited when convenient. We needed to know who our real enemies are. Morrison stood up and paced to the window. You're telling me that while I've been losing sleep over our defense capabilities, Earth has secretly built a fleet that could challenge the entire galaxy? Not just challenge, Brooks corrected. Defeat. Our technology is generations ahead of theirs. We've had time to develop weapons and defenses they can't even imagine. Commander Torres was studying the star charts. These locations. I've seen reports of unusual energy readings from these sectors. They were dismissed as natural phenomena. Our ships were cloaked, Brooks confirmed. But now that the Zephyrians have made their move, we can reveal ourselves. The question is whether we're ready to change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. General Collins was still struggling with the revelation. My ground forces, the planetary defenses, are they real? They're real, but they're also just the beginning, Brooks said. Earth itself is a fortress world. The defensive systems you know about are the ones we wanted the Council to see. The real defenses are hidden beneath the surface. Morrison turned back to the group. Assuming this is all true, what happens now? Do we spring this trap on the Zephyrians? That decision belongs to you, Brooks said. But you should know that Captain Ben Clark isn't on a routine patrol mission. He's commanding one of 12 scout fleets that are monitoring the main armada. They're waiting for orders. The name Clark rang a bell in Morrison's memory. The captain had been assigned to deep space reconnaissance 6 months ago. Morrison had assumed it was a standard mission to map asteroid fields. The engineers and scientists the Zephyrians want to enslave, Morrison said slowly. They're not just our best minds. They're the ones who built this secret fleet. Exactly, Brooks nodded. The Zephyrians have no idea what they're really trying to steal. Our people aren't just innovative, they're the most advanced military. Researchers in the galaxy. Commander Torres activated his communication device. I'm getting reports from our intelligence network. There are similar fleets threatening other worlds. The Zephyrians are making their move across multiple systems. Then, it's time for us to make ours, Morrison said. Dr. Brooks, I need you to contact this hidden fleet. Tell them their admiral wants to talk. Brooks smiled for the first time since the meeting began. Actually, Admiral, you should know that you're not just in command of Earth's defense fleet. You're the supreme commander of the largest military force in galactic history. The hidden fleet has been waiting for your orders for 20 years. Morrison sat back down heavily. In the space of one conversation, he had gone from commanding a hopeless defense to leading a force that could reshape the galaxy. The weight of responsibility was staggering. The Zephyrians gave us 72 hours, he said finally. How long will it take to activate the fleet? They're already active, Brooks replied. They've been waiting in position for months. All we need to do is give them the signal. Morrison looked around the table at his staff. They were no longer the desperate defenders of a doomed world. They were the command structure of a military force that had been preparing for this moment for a century. Then let's show the galaxy what happens when they threaten Earth, Morrison said. Send the signal. The signal went out across the galaxy in a burst of encrypted data that traveled faster than light itself. Within moments, systems that had appeared empty for decades began to show signs of massive activity. Admiral Jack Morrison watched the tactical display as red dots appeared throughout known space, each one representing a human vessel that had been hiding in the darkness. Dr. Amanda Brooks operated the communication console with practiced efficiency. Admiral, we're receiving confirmation signals from all fleet groups. Captain Ben Clark is requesting permission to decloak his scout force. Morrison felt a strange calm settle over him. The fear and uncertainty of the past few hours had been replaced by something else, purpose. Tell Captain Clark to proceed. It's time to show the Zephyrians what they're really facing. The main screen shifted to show the space around Earth's solar system. At first, everything appeared normal, the small human defense fleet maintaining their positions while the massive Zephyrian armada approached. Then the display began to change. Ships materialized from nowhere, their stealth systems deactivating in perfect synchronization. What had been empty space suddenly filled with human vessels, each one sleek and deadly. The Zephyrians had expected to face 200 ships, but now they found themselves surrounded by an equal number of human vessels that had appeared from the void. Commander Ryan Torres monitored the enemy communications. Sir, the Zephyrians are in complete confusion. They're trying to understand how we hid so many ships in our own system. They're about to learn that our system was never as empty as they thought, Morrison replied. Dr. Brooks, what's our technological advantage? Brooks pulled up a comparison chart. Every human ship uses quantum fold drives that make them 3 times faster than anything in the Zephyrian fleet. Our weapons utilize zero-point energy manipulation. They can literally tear holes in space-time. And our artificial intelligence systems allow coordination that no biological crew can match. Captain Lisa Harper's voice crackled over the communication system from the USS Defiance. Admiral, I'm reading massive energy spikes from our ships. Whatever weapons they're carrying, they're unlike anything I've seen before, Morrison nodded. Captain Harper, you're about to witness a century of human innovation. Our scientists didn't just build ships, they revolutionized warfare itself. The tactical display showed the Zephyrian fleet beginning to react to the sudden appearance of human vessels. Commander Thal's flagship was broadcasting orders to his subordinates, trying to reorganize his forces to deal with the unexpected situation. Sir, Torres reported, Commander Thal is demanding an explanation for the additional ships. He's threatening to begin the attack immediately. Open a channel to the Zephyrian flagship, Morrison ordered. It's time for a proper introduction. The screen flickered to life, showing Commander Thal's reptilian face twisted with anger and confusion. Behind him, his bridge crew was working frantically at their stations. "Human Admiral," Thal snarled, "you dare to use deception against the Empire? These additional ships will not save you. We still outnumber you by a significant margin." Morrison smiled coldly. "Commander Thal, you're operating under a serious misconception. What you see here is not our fleet, it's barely a patrol group. Would you like to see what happens when Earth stops hiding?" Before Thal could respond, Morrison gestured to Brooks. The scientist activated a galactic communication beacon that sent a signal to every human vessel in the Outer Rim. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the galaxy, hyperspace windows began opening. The exits flared with brilliant light as ship after ship emerged from faster-than-light travel. The tactical display struggled to process the incoming data as thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands of vessels appeared throughout. Known space. The Zephyrian fleet of 50,000 ships suddenly seemed small in comparison. Human vessels materialized in perfect formation, their numbers growing by the second. Each ship was identical in design but carried enough firepower to level a planet. Commander Thal's expression changed from anger to disbelief to pure terror. "This is impossible. No single world could build such a fleet." "Where did they come from?" "From the Outer Rim, where we've been working for a century," Morrison replied. "Every asteroid mining operation, every deep space research station, every exploration mission, they were all part of the same project. Building the force necessary to ensure Earth's freedom." The human fleet continued to arrive, their numbers reaching astronomical proportions. The Zephyrian forces found themselves not just outnumbered but technologically outmatched. Human ships moved with impossible coordination, their artificial intelligence systems allowing them to function as a single organism. General Pete Collins appeared on the communication screen. "Admiral, our ground-based installations are coming. Online Earth's planetary defense systems are revealing themselves." Morrison watched as the planet's surface began to show energy signatures that had been hidden for decades. Massive weapons platforms rose from underground installations, their targeting systems locking onto the Zephyrian fleet. What had appeared to be a defenseless world was actually a fortress of unimaginable power, Captain. Ben Clark's voice came through the communication system. "Admiral, this is USS Vengeance. My scout force is in position. We're detecting panic in the Zephyrian ranks. Their formations are breaking down." Morrison studied the tactical display. The human fleet now numbered over 500,000 vessels, each one representing the pinnacle of human engineering. The Zephyrians had come to collect slaves, but instead they had awakened a sleeping giant. "Commander Thal," Morrison said, his voice carrying across the void, "you offered us a choice between slavery and death. We choose neither. Instead, we offer you the same choice your empire has given to countless others: surrender or face destruction." Thal's reply came in a voice shaking with rage and fear. "The Empire will not bow to primitives. We have ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. No upstart species will challenge our dominance." "Then you've chosen poorly," Morrison replied. "Dr. Brooks, demonstrate our weapons capability. Target one of their smaller vessels." Brooks nodded and relayed the order to the fleet. A single human ship, barely visible among the thousands surrounding it, fired a beam of pure energy at a Zephyrian cruiser. The alien vessel, 3 times larger than its attacker, simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion, no debris. The ship was there one moment and gone the next. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the human bridge crew stared in amazement at the power they had just witnessed. The Zephyrian fleet froze in space, their crews struggling to understand what had just happened. "Zero-point energy manipulation," Brooks explained quietly. "The weapon creates a localized space-time distortion. The target doesn't just get destroyed, it gets removed from existence itself. Morrison turned back to the communication screen. Commander Thal, your ship and your fleet exist only because we allow it. Every vessel under your command could be erased from reality in the time it takes you to give an order. Is the Empire's pride worth the lives of your crews? Thal's response was interrupted by alarms throughout his ship. Other human vessels were demonstrating their capabilities, each weapon test showing technology that defied known physics. The Zephyrian Empire, masters of galactic warfare, found themselves facing weapons they couldn't comprehend. This is not over, Thal said finally. The Empire has allies. The Brutok Confederation and the Synthetic Collective will not allow this challenge to stand. Morrison smiled grimly. Then they can join you in learning why Earth stayed quiet for so long. We weren't hiding in fear, Commander. We were preparing for justice. The galaxy erupted into chaos as news of humanity's hidden fleet spread across every communication network. What had begun as a simple demand for Earth's surrender transformed into something far more dangerous, a challenge to the established order that had ruled space for millennia. Admiral Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching as tactical displays showed massive fleet movements throughout known space. The Brutok Confederation and Synthetic Collective were mobilizing their forces, responding to the threat that humanity now represented to their dominance. Sir, we're detecting hyperspace signatures across 17 star systems, Commander Ryan Torres reported. The Brutok war fleets are moving toward our position. Estimated arrival time is 8 hours. Dr. Amanda Brooks studied the incoming data. The Synthetic Collective is also responding. Their machine ships are converging from the outer spiral. It looks like they're planning a coordinated assault, Morrison nodded grimly. He had expected this response. The major galactic powers couldn't allow a new force to upset their control, especially one that had demonstrated such overwhelming technological superiority. What concerned him was the sheer scale of the approaching enemy forces. How many ships are we looking at? Morrison asked. Torres worked at his console for several moments before answering. Combined forces appear to number over 2 million vessels, sir. The largest military deployment in recorded galactic history. The weight of that number settled over the bridge crew. Even with their technological advantages, the human fleet would be outnumbered 4-1. The enemy was bringing everything. They had determined to crush humanity before it could consolidate its power. Captain Lisa Harper's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, the Zephyrian fleet is withdrawing to the outer system. They're taking defensive positions and waiting for reinforcements. Morrison understood Thal's strategy. The Zephyrian commander was buying time for his allies to arrive while keeping his own forces intact. It was a smart move that would preserve his ships for the larger battle to come. Captain Ben Clark to command, another voice interrupted. Sir, my scout groups are reporting massive energy signatures from the approaching fleets. The Brutok ships are larger than anything we've seen before, and the synthetic vessels appear to be completely automated. Morrison activated the fleet-wide communication network. Over 500,000 human ships received his transmission simultaneously, their artificial intelligence systems processing his orders in microseconds. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. The enemy has chosen to respond with overwhelming force. They believe that numbers alone can defeat superior technology and coordination. Today we will prove them wrong. The human fleet began to move with precision that defied physics. Unlike biological crews that required time to relay orders and coordinate actions, the human vessels operated as extensions of a single mind. Each ship knew exactly where every other vessel was positioned and what role it would play in the coming battle. Dr. Brooks activated the quantum communication network that connected Earth to its hidden fleet. Admiral, we're receiving reports from our deep space monitoring stations. The enemy fleets are using conventional formation tactics. They're treating this like a traditional engagement. Morrison smiled coldly. They're fighting the last war, while we're waging the next one. Show them what human innovation really means. The first enemy forces to arrive were the Brutok Confederation's war fleets. Their ships were massive, brutal-looking vessels designed for intimidation as much as destruction. Each Brutok dreadnought was 5 kilometers long and bristled with enough weapons to sterilize a planet. War Chief Gorneth commanded the Brutok forces from his flagship, a monstrous vessel that dwarfed even the largest human ships. His species had ruled through military might for 3,000 years, and he intended to crush this human rebellion with overwhelming firepower. "Pathetic mammals," Gorneth growled over the communication channel. "Your small ships are insects before the might of the Confederation. Surrender now, and we will grant you quick deaths." Morrison replied calmly, "War Chief Gorneth, your species has confused size with strength for too long. Allow us to educate you." The human fleet demonstrated their first tactical innovation. Instead of forming traditional battle lines, they dispersed into thousands of small groups that moved independently. Each group consisted of ships that could coordinate their actions perfectly, creating a swarm effect that confused enemy targeting systems. The Brutok fleet opened fire with massive energy weapons that could destroy conventional ships with single hits. But the human vessels moved with impossible agility, their quantum-fold drives allowing them to dodge attacks that should have been unavoidable. Captain Harper led the first assault wave, her ships darting between enemy formations like schools of fish-avoiding predators. The human weapons fired in perfect synchronization, their zero-point energy beams slicing through Brutok armor as if it were paper. Direct hit on enemy flagship, Torres reported. The beam penetrated their shields and hull. Massive internal damage detected. Morrison watched as War Chief Gorneth's massive dreadnought, supposedly unsinkable, developed a gaping hole through its center section. The weapon had simply erased a portion of the ship from existence, leaving the rest to fall apart from structural failure. The synthetic collective's fleet arrived moments later, their machine ships moving with cold precision. Unlike the emotional Brutok forces, the artificial intelligences coordinated their attacks with mathematical efficiency. Their vessels were smaller than Brutok ships, but far more numerous, prime node, the collective consciousness that commanded. The synthetic fleet transmitted its message through pure data streams. Human vessels present unknown tactical variables, recalculating engagement parameters, initiating adaptive protocols. Dr. Brooks monitored the enemy communications. The synthetic ships are learning from the Brutok losses. They're modifying their tactics in real time. Morrison nodded. Then we'll have to stay ahead of them. Captain Clark, implement pattern Delta. Show them that adaptation works both ways. The human fleet shifted tactics instantly. Their artificial intelligence systems processing new instructions faster than any biological crew could react. The swarm formations broke apart and reformed into geometric patterns that maximized their firepower. While minimizing exposure to enemy weapons, the battle became a deadly dance of technology and tactics. Human ships moved through three-dimensional space like a living organism, each vessel supporting the others in perfect harmony. Enemy fire passed harmlessly through empty spaces where human ships had been microseconds before. Colonel Maria Santos led boarding parties that teleported directly onto enemy vessels using technology the aliens couldn't detect or prevent. Her teams wore powered armor that made them nearly invincible in close combat, systematically disabling enemy ships from within. Boarding successful on Brutok cruiser designation Alpha 7, Santos reported. Enemy crew neutralized. Ship systems under our control. Morrison realized that humanity's true advantage wasn't just their technology. It was their ability to think beyond conventional warfare. While their enemies relied on established tactics, humans innovated in real time. General Pete Collins coordinated with ground-based installations that revealed Earth's true defensive capabilities. Massive weapons platforms emerged from the planet's crust, their targeting systems capable of striking enemy ships across multiple star systems. Planetary defense grid is fully active, Collins reported. We have clear shots on enemy command. Vessels requesting permission to fire. Morrison gave the order, and Earth itself joined the battle. Beams of impossible energy lanced across space, striking enemy flagships with pinpoint accuracy. The planet that had seemed helpless now revealed itself as the most heavily armed world in the galaxy. The tide of battle turned decisively in humanity's favor. Despite being outnumbered, the human fleet systematically dismantled enemy formations with surgical precision. Every tactical innovation the aliens attempted was countered by human technology they couldn't understand. As enemy ships began retreating in disorder, Morrison opened a channel to all surviving commanders. "This is your final warning. Earth offers peace to those wise enough to accept it. Continue this fight and face complete destruction." The final phase of the Galactic War began as humanity's enemies made their last desperate attempt to destroy Earth's fleet. Commander Thal, War Chief Gornath, and Prime Node had agreed to coordinate their remaining forces in a final assault. That would either crush human resistance or end their own civilizations forever. Admiral Jack Morrison watched the tactical display as the surviving enemy ships formed into a massive wedge formation. Nearly 800,000 vessels remained from the original 2 million, but they were moving with the desperation of beings who knew their entire way of life was at stake. "Sir, enemy forces are concentrating their remaining fleet into a single spearhead," Commander Ryan Torres reported. "They're planning to punch through our lines and strike directly at Earth." Dr. Amanda Brooks analyzed the enemy formation. "It's a suicide run. They know they can't win a prolonged battle, so they're gambling everything on one decisive strike." Morrison nodded grimly. The enemy commanders had finally realized that their conventional tactics were useless against human technology. Their only hope was to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers and reach the planet itself. "All ships, prepare for final engagement," Morrison broadcast to the human fleet. "The enemy is throwing everything they have at us. Show them why humanity deserves to be free." Captain Lisa Harper positioned her ships between the enemy formation and Earth. "Admiral, the USS Defiance and escort group are ready to intercept. We won't let them reach our homeworld." The enemy fleet accelerated toward Earth with engines pushed beyond safe limits. Explosions erupted throughout their formations as ships suffered mechanical failures. But the survivors pressed forward with grim determination. Captain Ben Clark's voice crackled over the communication system. "Sir, this is USS Vengeance. We're detecting massive energy buildups in the enemy ships. They're overloading their weapon systems for maximum damage." Morrison realized what the enemy was planning. They intended to ram Earth's defenses with ships that had become flying bombs. Even if they couldn't penetrate human shields, the explosions might create enough chaos for their remaining forces to break through. "Dr. Brooks, activate the reality manipulation systems," Morrison ordered. "It's time to show them what happens when you threaten Earth directly." Brooks hesitated for a moment. "Sir, using those weapons at full power will demonstrate capabilities we've never revealed before. The entire galaxy will know what humans are capable of." "Good," Morrison replied coldly. "Let them know exactly what they're dealing with." The human fleet began to glow with energy that seemed to bend light itself. Reality manipulation technology was humanity's greatest secret. Weapons that could alter the fundamental laws of physics within localized areas. No other species had even theorized such devices were possible. As the enemy fleet closed to weapons range, space itself began to change around them. The laws that govern matter and energy shifted according to human will. Enemy weapons fired, but their energy beams curved away from human ships as gravity waves redirected the attacks. War Chief Gornath watched in horror as his massive dreadnoughts began to slow down despite their engines running at maximum power. The space around them had become thick like liquid, making movement nearly impossible. "This is impossible," Gornath roared. "No species can control the laws of physics themselves." Prime Node's artificial intelligence struggled to process what was happening. Error in universal constants detected. Physical laws operating outside normal parameters. Unable to compute solutions. Commander Thal's flagship found itself trapped in a bubble where time moved differently. His crew watched helplessly as the rest of the battle seemed to accelerate around them, while they remained frozen in slow motion. Morrison opened a communication channel to all three enemy commanders. You wanted to see the full power of humanity. This is what a species can accomplish when they dedicate themselves to innovation instead of conquest. The human fleet moved through the altered space like creatures born to it. Their ships had been designed to operate within reality distortions, giving them complete freedom of movement while their enemies struggled against impossible physics. Colonel Maria Santos led the final assault, her boarding teams teleporting directly onto enemy command ships. The powered armor worn by human soldiers allowed them to function normally even within the reality distortions, making them unstoppable as they seized control of alien vessels. All enemy flagships are under human control, Santos reported. Resistance has collapsed. Their command structures are completely disrupted. General Pete Collins watched from Earth as the planet's defenses reached full power. Sir, we could end this battle in seconds. Our planetary weapons are locked onto every remaining enemy ship. Morrison considered the option but chose a different path. Negative, General. We've proven our point. Now it's time to offer them a choice. The reality distortions faded as Morrison deactivated the manipulation systems. Enemy ships found themselves able to move again, but their formations were scattered and their command structure was in human hands. Commander Thal, War Chief Gornath. Prime Node, Morrison said, his voice carrying across the void. Your fleets are defeated, your weapons are useless. Your commanders are our prisoners, but you still have a choice. The three alien leaders appeared on the main screen, their expressions showing the full weight of their defeat. They had come to conquer a primitive world and instead faced technology that challenged their understanding of reality itself. What choice do you offer? Thal asked, his voice hollow with despair. The same choice we wanted for ourselves, Morrison replied. Freedom. Your species can continue to exist as free beings under a new galactic order, one based on justice instead of domination, War Chief Gornath snarled. You expect us to bow? To human rule? No, Morrison said simply. We expect you to learn to coexist peacefully. Earth doesn't want an empire. We want a galaxy where no species threatens another with slavery or extinction. Prime Node processed this information. Human. Intentions appear genuine. No logical benefit detected from false promises at this stage of conflict. Dr. Brooks brought up holographic displays showing the true scope of human capabilities. Your civilizations have spent thousands of years perfecting ways to destroy and dominate others. We spent 1 century learning how to protect and build. That's the difference between us. Captain Harper's fleet began organizing the surrender of enemy vessels. Human ships moved among the defeated aliens, offering medical assistance and safe passage home for those who accepted the new order. Those who wish to continue fighting are free to leave, Morrison announced. But understand that Earth's protection now extends to any species threatened by galactic predators. We will not allow the strong to prey upon the weak. Most of the surviving alien crews chose to surrender. They had seen enough of human technology to understand that continued resistance was pointless. Those few who refused were allowed to depart with damaged ships and warnings, never to threaten peaceful worlds again. Commander Ryan Torres coordinated with intelligence networks throughout the galaxy. Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from dozens of council worlds. They want to join the new galactic order. Morrison nodded. Accept all reasonable offers. But make it clear that membership requires a commitment to peaceful coexistence. The aftermath of the battle saw humanity establishing a new form of galactic government. Instead of rule through military might, the human system emphasized cooperation and mutual protection. Species that had lived in fear for millennia found themselves free to develop their own cultures without outside interference. Children from dozens of different worlds began learning together on human-protected planets. The galaxy's first integrated schools became symbols of the peace that human strength had made possible. Ambassador Crix representing what remained of the old Galactic Council, approached Morrison weeks after the battle. "Admiral, I must admit that the Council misunderstood your species completely. We thought humans were too weak to matter in galactic affairs." Morrison smiled. "We were never weak, Ambassador. We were just waiting for the right moment to show the galaxy what justice looks like." The final scene showed Earth's fleet patrolling the galaxy's trade routes, ensuring that merchant vessels could travel safely between worlds. The 500,000 human dreadnoughts had become guardians rather than conquerors, their presence a guarantee that the age of galactic bullying was over forever.